Looks like we are live, but right. Can you hear? Okay, looks like we've got.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, Mahsa.
You can hear. So, nice to discuss and New Zealand and what to the movement, the Iranian revolution, and Sam, need any introduction? She has been very active and speaking at many of our views.
Mahsa, apparently your audio is not very good.
Is that what we're getting?
Yes.
Let's just try.
The problem we're having
is trying to be lost at this point. Yes, you're having issues hearing to figure this out. Do I echo?
No, it's just hard to hear you. Sorry, guys, we're just trying to talk about. We can't hear you at all. Can I ask everyone who's watching this, can you hear me well? If you can just comment. Yeah, apparently people can hear me okay, Mahsa. No, I still can't hear you. Okay, we just have to... It's our first live stream together, so we just have to roll on. Okay, I'll carry on while Mahsa is actually sorting it out. Mahsa, they are saying maybe you should leave and then come back again. Restart. Okay, so whilst we're waiting for Mahsa, I will just carry on. Mahsa was going to talk about the statistics in the past 4 to 6 weeks in terms of Iran. I don't have the statistics, but she does, so hopefully she can come back and she can update everybody. Okay, there you go. She's back. Okay, she's gone. Just wanted to remind everyone that we are going to have a protest this Saturday at 11 o'clock at Aotea Square. It's going to be a very special one this Saturday. We're going to have a very moving, special performance. And I really invite everyone to join us this Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning. We also have issued a press statement. It was under my name, which has gone to the media. And we are just repeating in that media statement, we are repeating what we are demanding from New Zealand government. And in the past few days, I have been doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of people involved. And now we have the names of the 3 main officials within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are the main ones who are providing advice to the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. And I thought that would be of interest to most people because we have been having some difficulties getting the names. We didn't know where they're getting their advice. because the fact, people keep sending me messages here, the fact that the Prime Minister was trying to get these people out of the country, from our point of view, it should not have stopped them from figuring out what they're going to do next. So they lost the past 7 to 8 weeks in terms of making decisions. So, and we were trying to find out who were the people providing advice to the Prime Minister, because obviously they're not getting the right advice. So now we have the names, and we have released the names to the media because that was quite important. I have suggested that these 3 officials should come and meet with us. And one of them is Megan Williams, who is the Iran desk officer and one of the main people providing advice to the Prime Minister. So we are going to follow up on, some people are asking me what's happened to live. Okay, Mahsa is back.
Hi.
Mahsa, do you want to talk?
Me back?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Mahsa,
okay.
yes, yes, we can.
Okay,
Mahsa, I was just giving some.
to Instagram. If you could just come to Instagram on your phone, live off Farsi land.
I see. I'm here.
Then we can have both. Hi, team. We're just coming.
Okay, I think we're here now. Sorry, guys, I keep getting messages from everywhere.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Mahsa, I was just giving some updates in terms of the names we now have through our contacts in respect of the 3 officials involved with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the fact that we have released those names, and we are actually asking questions from these 3 people, and we are asking what type of advice they have been given to the Prime Minister.
With the Ministry, and the fact that we have released those names, actually asking questions from these 3 people, asking what type of advice
We have so much difficulty.
the Prime Minister.
You roll, Mahsa.
Difficulty.
Tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Can you?
Sorry, guys, we're having so much difficulties today.
Yeah, I don't know why my sound just gone.
Your sound is a little bit better now.
Okay.
Just keep talking, Mahsa.
Struggling with Instagram going all over the place. I will keep talking. It looks like at the moment only Sammy is there. Lost my access to Instagram. Anyway, we will record this. Okay, so happening over the last flat, something that's been very encouraging. Now having a problem on this side. Okay. Well, sorry for this. I'm just trying to come back to, because I can't actually see you. This is a bit of a shambles. All right, thank you, Bryce. Okay, just gonna go now. Samira, can
I can hear you. Yeah.
from the top now. Okay. So there have been a few been happening over the last few days that the allegedly has brought in from Iraq and Lebanon reports of plane falls of forces joining. That's both news and a good news. Good news, they are running out of steam. Bad news, the ground. Going on is that Iran has just giving ground to use in the war with Ukraine. Deeply concerning, and with the Ukrainian community. Can you?
Yes, I'm just Mehta is making some Mehta is making some comments. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that's going on, actually, in terms of the security, the Iranian parliament has just approved increase for security forces in Iran. Interesting, because that also means that pay these guys more to. But Iran still has access to funds coming from probably some of it from Russia. They are selling missiles and possibly from other avenues. The economic side of things, and that's what we want to reduce. You go and I'll pass on to you for now what's been happening in New Zealand and from the PM over the last 2 days.
I'm just trying to ask Shamim if I can actually leave Instagram and just stick to Facebook, because people are having difficulties hearing me. And it's quite echoey. Shamim, can I do that? Yeah, okay. Anyway, sorry guys, there's always a first time. We're going to get better at this if we're going to do it again, if people want to join us again. So in terms of what's happening in New Zealand in the past few weeks, especially in the past 7 days, the past 7 days been quite important, because a week ago we heard the news. By the way, we were all aware of what was happening because some of us knew this couple. Some of us knew that they were actually going to Iran after the wedding. I couldn't believe that they went ahead with the plan. When I found out they went there, I was rather shocked. But since they've been released, and by the way, they were not detained, they were not in prison. As far as we know, they were staying at the embassy, the New Zealand embassy in Tehran, and they were free to go wherever they wanted to go. They just did not have their passports. So we think probably more information will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. They have asked for privacy, which we all find it rather ironic, considering they live on a public platform. Since then, the government has come out and announced that, well, their condemnation of obviously has increased in the past few days. And the Prime Minister had a briefing the other day who said they have stopped the dialogue between New Zealand and Iran. And this was a dialogue, human rights talks, which has been happening. It just makes me laugh when I hear the words human rights talks with Iran. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because that's not a country you can actually have. Exactly. That's not a country you can have human rights talk with. putting aside that they only had 2 meetings, and the third meeting was going to be apparently very recently last month, and that of course didn't go ahead. So they have stopped that dialogue. And our response to that was that that shouldn't have happened in the first place. So stopping it. And as I said in my recent interview, I said 0 minus 0 equals 0. We don't really see that as a win. This is not a win. We need much more than that. And we made it very clear what we want. They also have signed off on a letter, which was signed off by a few other female leaders, quite high profile female leaders. But she dodged the question in terms of how much ransom money was paid to Iran in order to get the couple back. She didn't say yes, she didn't say no. She was very political in her answers. In terms of the sanctions, this was quite important.
Not answering questions.
Yes, not debating, exactly. But what really upset me in that press conference was that the Prime Minister kept saying, we already have sanctions in place. That was the upsetting part for me. And I think it must have upset a lot of Iranians here, because the implication was that there is enough protection here for Iranians, for legitimate Iranians. And we do have sanctions in place, because when we talk about sanctions in this current environment, any Kiwi, any New Zealander would think that we're talking about sanctions against the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Those are not the sanctions actually she was talking about. She was talking about sanctions as a result of United States imposing sanctions on Iran. And these sanctions directly only hurting legitimate Iranians. Iranians like me, like Mahsa, like Shamim, like a lot of other Iranians who live here, who can't bring money from Iran because of the sanctions, legitimate money, who can send post to Iran, like DHL. They don't, none of these postal agencies here, they actually deliver to Iran anymore because of the sanctions. So don't actually fall for that, because the sanctions are not for Iranian Revolutionary Guards. So we are going to keep the fight going. That's why the past 24 hours I've been working a lot on trying to get who's behind the scene, who's actually advising the Prime Minister, who's giving them political advice. And now we've got the name, so we're going to push further. We are going to make official information requests to get some more information. We have asked the opposition to ask questions in the House, and we have asked them also to ask for, under the Official Information Act, to ask for more information, because we have to wait 21 days. They only have 6 days. They only wait for 6 days. So it's really important for everybody to know that keeping the publicity going, keeping the pressure going, keeping the pressure on, it's so, so important. And I am hopeful, actually, that we could be one of the very few countries, one of the first countries, hopefully, after US and another country, that we are going to have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard on the terrorist list. I actually am hopeful, and I think we could make it happen with a little bit of more push. So that is our main focus at the moment, and that's what we're going to pushing more from here on. That's why it's quite important, by the way, to come to the protest on Saturday. The Ukrainian community is joining us. We're now joining forces because, of course, the regime in Iran is not only killing us, it's also killing Ukrainians. They've been very receptive to come and join us. And they are also asking us for the same support, because the Ukrainian community, they have protests every Sunday at 12 o'clock at the Outer Square. So if you do have the time, go and join them and support them as well, because we will certainly going to do that. So that was just a summary of what we've been doing in the past, 3 days since Monday that she's done the press conference. So we've been pretty active in the past couple of days. But that's as far as, and we are asking them to quickly draft and pass an Iranian sanctions bill. That's another request that we have, and that can also be done because they've done it recently with the Russian sanction bill, so they do have a precedent for it. So there you go. That's what we've been doing in the past 48 hours.
Fantastic. A lot more than the last 44 days.
Yes.
Is my or is it
There's something
Playing
wrong
up.
with yourself.
You speak.
Okay, all right. Well, what? Give me the topics, because you didn't send me the topics. What's the next one you want me to speak on? Maybe I should.
Mahsa.
Mahsa. Okay. So what we wanted to mention was that what you guys can do to actually help. Okay. It is so important. We said that at the beginning in terms of approaching your local MP, whether they're national, whether they're green, whether they're Labour, it doesn't matter, because this is human rights law. Okay, so put aside which political party you like or you don't like. Okay, this is about something much more important. So approach your local MP. Mahsa White, who is a beautiful Iranian filmmaker here, she really pushed for that. Okay, she approached Phil Twyford, who is their local MP in West, and after a couple of telephone calls to Phil, she finally managed actually to get a meeting with Phil, and she approached us and asked me, Mahsa, and Farouk if we could actually join her for that meeting. So because she wanted to have all the ideas available, and we met with Phil Twyford on Saturday. Was it Saturday, Mahsa? Yeah,
Yes.
It was Saturday. For actually hour and a half.
Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Saturday morning for hour and a half, which is not very usual for a politician to give you hour and a half unless you're taking them out for dinner. So, and it was actually a pretty good meeting. He had another MP, I can't remember the name of the other MP, Dr. Deborah Russell, I think. And
Yes.
we
Yes.
had a really good chat. We told them what we wanted. We specifically mentioned our demands. We mentioned why the Iranian community have been feeling so left out, feeling completely ignored in the past 8 weeks. Because let's not forget, a lot of our people here, they haven't been able to talk to their families. They haven't been able to see their families. They're not able to go back to Iran. I have a lot of friends, they're booked to go to Iran next week. One of them said, my father is dying. I'm not going to be able to see him, but I really don't know if I should go or not, because a couple of airlines, they stopped flying in and out of Iran. So the risk is there, because that's what's happened. I wasn't born during the revolution, but people who are here can correct me if I'm wrong by commenting, please. But I believe that at some point, most flights were canceled in and out of Iran during the revolution. So that can easily happen. That can happen to my sister as well. So that can happen to all our family members. So everyone is really worried. And another thing that we mentioned to Phil was the spies we have in New Zealand, because that's a real concern for a lot of Iranians, who some of them don't want to come to the protest because they are worried about, they look around and everyone who's taking the photo, they're worried, are these people from the Iranian Revolutionary Guards? Are they going to pass our photos? So we actually asked Phil to speak with SIS, I forgot what it stands for, Security Intelligence Services, there you go. And because it's their job to identify these people and to monitor them. He said that he said he will also ask SIS to meet with us, because I know that some of our very good Iranians here, they actually do have a list of people who are connected to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. However, SIS has refused to meet, and they sent us an email saying, well, if you have any concerns about this individual, you can just email us on this email address. So, but it was a step forward. And what I got from that meeting was that Mahsa and everyone connected to her, and some of us actually, we did feel that they were heard. Whether anything is going to come out of that or not, we don't know, because we know the decision maker is not Phil, it's someone else, someone higher up. And that's why it's so important. Every one of you should start doing that. We live in St. Heliers. We have talked to our local MP. Bobak is at the moment here watching and commenting, and he's been incredibly active. And try to approach them every week. Don't let this actually to just go quiet. Okay, keep the momentum going. By the way, I made my Instagram and Facebook public since 5 weeks ago, and I am getting messages from people in Iran that I don't know who they are, but they are sending messages saying that watching you people out of Iran doing this, it's actually really, really encouraging. Because sometimes I'm sitting here thinking, well, I have all the freedom in the world, I don't have to worry. So no matter what I do, it's not going to make any difference in Iran. But believe me, it does. So we have a group of people, we have a lot of volunteers here at the moment who have spent hours and hours. I think in the past 4 weeks, most of us
hundreds of hours. Hundreds.
Yeah. We have Zoom meetings after 9 o'clock at night until midnight, and then we still have our work to do. Mahsa and a lot of other members, they actually have children. So we've done a lot of work. We have to change the strategy from here on slightly. We will keep the protests going without a doubt, irrespective of how much work is involved. But we also have to now focus on the message. We have to focus on what we want, because we haven't yet achieved much, at least from our own government here, okay? The Russian sanction bill went through very quickly. I think it went through within a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And they've done that very, very recently. So they've got that precedent, okay? And they just need to make that bold move. That's why we are so interested to sit down with these 3 officials, which their name will be published tomorrow, going to talk to them and say, well, what is it that you rely on in order to give advice to the Prime Minister? Because, of course, the Minister and the Prime Minister will go to these people to get advice. But I am very interested to know on what grounds they suggested to our Prime Minister in 2018 to start a dialogue, a human rights dialogue with Iran. It just doesn't make any sense, especially when during the past 4 years we had 2 very serious incidents in Iran, the Bloody November. And what was that flight which was shot down, Mahsa?
The Ukrainian for Canada.
Yeah.
So it's about money, because Iran's, can you hear me okay this time?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Maybe next time we should come to my house.
The trade value in dollars.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
That's
Yeah, it's PS752.
Yeah, one of the things that we said as part of our statement was that they keep talking about keeping the diplomacy going with Iran by keeping the ambassador here. That doesn't make any sense. And we've tried to explain that to them. And this is something we want to sit with these officials. If they don't understand, and maybe we can actually clearly explain that to them. Because our political advisors who are in Wellington, who are dealing with Middle East, who have been to Iran in the past with the previous foreign minister through National, they know a lot more. And these are the political advisors involved with trades, with China, with Middle East, with everywhere. So these are the experts. But of course, they're not part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They said, you can expel, I'm just reading from what he wrote to me, you can expel the Iranian ambassador and transfer the New Zealand embassy functions from Tehran to Turkey. He actually said, that would result in saving probably $2 million if they do that. And it could be diverted to the opening of New Zealand embassy in Israel, in addition to our present honorary consulate in Tel Aviv. So these people do have a solution. I'm not sure why they're not going to these experts and say, well, what can we do to make it happen? They keep talking about diplomats. I have not yet seen any diplomacy on the part of our ambassador here. You all probably followed up that 200 and that poor trader, the painter, that the embassy owed him $275,000, and the High Court made the order that they have to pay him. And when they approached the ambassador, his response was, if you want your money, go to Jacinda or Queen Elizabeth. Seriously? This is the diplomat you actually want to keep in the country? He has gone to the police. Yeah.
With the attitude of their right.
Yeah. Sorry, that my dog's here. And also, as far as I'm aware, he made a complaint to the police about our Wellingtonians who protested outside outside the embassy. But thankfully, we do live in a free country. We do have a right to protest. This is not Iran, and he probably has to get his head around it. So someone is saying that they asked our prime minister and she said, we cannot expel the ambassador. We will lose our presence if we expel him. The same reason they haven't expelled the Russian ambassador. Well, yes, that's the same reason they're going to give about every ambassador. But the ambassador...
Well, then the things they could be doing that they have, right?
Yeah, there are alternatives. So these foreign policy advisors who are not in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have a solution. My question is, why not going to these advisors and say, well, what is the solution? How can we still have affairs with Iran? How can Iranians still run their affairs without having the ambassador here? So they just can't come out and have a sweeping comment saying that, well, we have to keep the relationship going. So that those are the things that we actually put in our press statement today, which went out today. I am also interested to find out how much money was paid to the Iranian regime to get the rich whites kids out. And we have called out on the rich whites kids to actually come out and publicly support this global movement. I can't really say, I refuse to say they've been through the same thing that our loved ones been through, or we have been through when we lived there. That's far from truth. They were just two kids, rich kids who couldn't leave Iran, who decided to go there and pretty much ignoring every single rule, every single thing that they were told not to do. Don't have drones. They had drones. Don't drive that car. It's in the list of banned vehicles. They drove that car. Don't have camera equipment in the car. They had camera equipment in the car. So pretty much everything they were not supposed to do, they did it when they arrived in Iran. So I think the main point of today's live stream was to tell our Kiwi friends, to tell our Iranian people that we are doing everything we can, and we are doing it all together, because I receive messages from everybody around, and believe me, everyone has such good ideas. And every Iranian here that I have been dealing with in the past few weeks, they are highly educated. They are incredible people. They are prepared to help, and they all have ideas that could help. And they're not trying to force us to actually adopt those ideas, but they come to us and say, should we do this next? And I can assure you the strategy will have to change from here on. We can't just go and protest and chant. We need to do something more substantial. And that's why in the past 48 hours, we have spent most of our resources on trying to get lots of political information in to be able actually to work with that. So, and don't be disappointed if nothing is going to happen in the next few days. It's going to take time. It's going to take efforts. And everyone is doing everything they can. And I really have come across beautiful people in the past 4 weeks. I wasn't really involved with the Iranian community, but I have gotten to know a lot of Iranians in the past, very capable Iranians. And one of them being Mahsa, Shamim, a lot of other people who've been working with us, like Arad. This guy in 3 days managed to put how many billboards up? We were still thinking about how to make it happen. We were still thinking about what to do. And then he was just sending us messages saying it's up already. Yeah. And he's been fundraising. But the beauty of that is, listen to this. I found out today after I was talking to him. I realized I was asking him, well, you didn't get the money. You can't get the money until the end of November. How have you been paying for the billboards? Like he's spent $12,000 out of his own pocket, because he said timing was so important for me. So it doesn't matter. I will eventually get the money. But in the meantime, I will keep it going no matter what. And that's been the attitude of a lot of people. So please don't go cold. Keep coming to the protests. Our presence is so important. We had absolute no publicity for the first 5 weeks or 6 weeks. Within the past 7 days, we have had so much publicity. And that is as a result of our efforts, all of us in the past in the past 4 to 5 weeks. And this is the time to keep it going and keep going. And that's what we're going to do. We're arranging a fundraiser event for one night to try to raise some money for these protests, and also for more important causes that will come along in the next few weeks. And we're going to keep pushing, and that's what we have to do, and that's what we need to do. And I personally am very grateful to all. Exactly, we need to keep the pressure up. And if we achieve 1 out of our 4 demands, okay, or 2 out of 4 demands, that's a huge victory. And New Zealand is in a very unique position. Don't forget that, okay? It is in a very unique position. If they were one of the few countries in the world who started that dialogue with Iran, now the Prime Minister has the opportunity to say, maybe next week, maybe in the next 2 weeks, New Zealand is one of the very few countries who added the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to the terrorist list. They have that opportunity. And I think eventually we will be able to convince them to actually take advantage of that opportunity. So we will keep fighting. We will keep going. And 1 week is a long week.
And that's
why
we need people peace. Meetings and demand. Do I sound break up?
Yeah, your sound break up. Yeah. Mahsa is trying to say that is why it's so important to keep writing to your MPs. And look, everybody has my email address. Everybody can go and Google my number. Text me, email me. Text Mahsa, email Mahsa. Text Mahsa, email Mahsa. You know, do whatever you can. If it's on the weekend, I will come. We will come with you. Okay. If you want me to draft something for you to send that email, I will draft that email for you. Okay. It doesn't matter. It takes 5 minutes for me to draft something. So if you need our help to get you to have that meeting, please do it. And we will do whatever we can to help you. I'm just trying to read Ehsan's comment. I see. Ehsan is saying some people say that weekly protests in New Zealand out of Iran may make the stories in Iran a routine for Kiwis, and after a while they may say it's a repeated story. And he then at the end he says, so ignore it. We will ignore it, Ehsan. Don't worry at all. We will not give in to that. And we are trying, for example, this Saturday, if you come, you will see
coming out.
Yeah.
Changing, getting different crimes each.
Yeah. And this Saturday, we are going to have a very special performance. So I really suggest that everyone needs to come. Mahsa is very much involved, our beautiful filmmaker. And it's going to make a massive political statement, because that's a reality of what's going on in Iran. And it's incredibly sad. So look at this picture behind me. This is actually... I'll show you. This is a picture that I put in my background. This is Mahsa. Oh my God. Anyways, you can probably see what it is. I've been doing a lot of court hearings virtually like this, because I haven't been feeling physically really well in order to go to court. And I have this at my background. So every time I appear in court, whether it's district court or high court, people ask me about that photo at the end of the hearing. And I find that very heartening, because I am raising awareness in my own way, okay, by even having this, because I look at this every morning and I say, this is why I don't mind not going to bed at 8 o'clock and go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is why we are fighting no matter what. And then we have our beautiful people here. Amir did all these beautiful pins, which we wear everywhere we go. Again, that's another way of raising awareness. So it's important to keep the momentum going, because it's never been this long. I don't know. Tell me, has it ever been this long? Bobak, you're here. You probably know. Has it ever been this long? Going through all this, going through these protests? I don't believe so. Not from my memory. And something needs to come out of this. So many people died. So many people are in prison. And we can't just let it go. So what I'm trying to say here is that keep coming to the protests, keep going, don't be disappointed. Don't worry if Kiwi people are saying, well, it is what it is. That's what the ambassador said to David Seymour. He said, well, buddy, stay out of it. It's a domestic matter. And David's response to him was very, very good, actually. So this is not a domestic matter. This is a human rights matter. So, and after that, David asked for the expulsion of the ambassador after that letter. So this is really important. This is the first time in Iran we're having a global movement like this. The whole world is supporting them. You know, they didn't have the support the first 2 weeks, but now everyone is talking about them. And this is the first time, and this is their chance for freedom. So we need to keep it going. What's going to happen as long as, and that's why we need to push, because if New Zealand becomes one of the first countries to add these murderous, torturous guards to the terrorist list and then impose sanctions on them and get rid of them in New Zealand. We don't need them in New Zealand. They can just go back. Yeah.
Freeze
their assets. Actually hit them, as Golri said, hit them where it hurts, because that will really, really hurt them. Freeze their assets and get rid of them. Child killers, Mahsa is right. They have killed 34 children in the past 4 weeks. 36. Yeah, Mahsa. 46. Okay, well, that's even worse. So this is pretty much, we just thought we would give you an update for the past 48 hours since the press conference has come out. Media is getting more and more interested, and we need to keep them interested by keep asking questions. That's the main thing. We can't just stop asking questions. We can't say, people say, oh, New Zealand, it's a small country. Okay, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's the opposite. New Zealand is a small country, and they can do a lot of things. The trade they do with Iran, it's close to $3 million a year. It's nothing. And as Furul said, Dr. Amin said to Phil, which was a very good point, she said, what are you going to lose by losing $3 million a year? Just be the first country who cut all trades with Iran. So, but of course, you know, these are just words for them at the moment. And that's why it's important for us to support each other and come to these protests and try to show the government and also the rest of the world that we're not going to quiet down. We're going to keep going no matter what. And please don't be discouraged if your friends are saying, well, we've just been to a protest a week ago. It doesn't matter. Even if there will be 3 protests during the week, go for it. It doesn't matter who's having it. We all are in this together. So that's something very, very important, and you need to remember that. So I'm not going to take too much of everyone's time because I've already talked so much because Mahsa couldn't talk. But we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep doing this, and let us know. I know this one wasn't actually perfect in terms of sound, but let us know if you want us to do more of these live stream and just report on a weekly basis in terms of what we have done, what the government has done, and just update you on any improvements that we've had in the past because as I said, 5 days or 7 days is a long week when it comes to politics. So just reach us, and if you want us to do more of these, we're very happy to do that. Ehsan is saying, yes, sure, time to time. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we can announce it when we have good information to pass on, and just let everybody know what's going on. Yes, Babak, I know. I still owe you that phone call. I have a number of suggestions. I will call you, Babak. So this is all I had to say, Mahsa. So you didn't have a good night tonight. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
No, Ehsan is saying we need to ask people in Iran what they expect us to do for them. Yes, I agree, Ehsan. I have asked that question, and interestingly enough, they have never said send us money, because that was a question I've asked a couple of times. Do you need money? And they said, no, we don't need money. You just need to keep going.
Just keep
what you're doing. Yeah, that's the main thing. Just keep the social media going and keep amplifying their names. And on our side, if anybody can help, please reach out. If anybody wants to go to the local MP, you need support, reach out. We're gonna be there no matter what time of the day, which day of the week. And yeah, we're gonna win this.
Media.
Yeah.
Media.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, if there is any media interest and you don't want to do it, let us know. If you want to do it yourself, then we can train you. We can provide some media training. Not that I'm really good at it, but I have gotten some media training in the past, so I can just pass on that information. It's so important for New Zealanders to hear this on a daily basis. Iran is bleeding. That's why I start all my statements these days by saying Iran is still bleeding, because it is bleeding. And this is not a domestic matter. This is just not my problem, Mahsa's problem, Bobak's problem. It's everyone's problem. And everyone is doing what they can. And I am so grateful for the connections that I have made in the past 6 weeks. I'm grateful to know a lot of people, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't know them any time sooner. But we will win this. We will win this. Something will come out of this. I am incredibly hopeful. And that hope is actually what's keeping me going. And I think that's what's keeping all of us going. And be kind. And because we have a bigger goal, don't focus on little things. We have a much bigger goal. And let's hope in the next few weeks we're going to celebrate. And Bobak is saying, believe me, we haven't even started yet. I tend to agree with him. So we will come back with more information. We're going to keep pushing in the next few weeks and few days. And let's hope our press statement would get some publicity. With those 3 names out, they're probably going to be worried about, oh shit, how did they get our names? But transparency. So that's what we're working with. So if nobody has any specific questions for us, I'm so sorry about the technical issues we had. On behalf of Mahsa, next time she will come to my house.
Thank you. Sorry about that, team.
Yeah. Next time we will have a better one. Anyways, everyone, have a great evening. And yeah, we will win this.
Iran.
Iran.